Chapter 10 Cold Man of the Sea. Vorth Saltbane urged his destroyer forward to the battlements of the Midnain fort. The outpost was built atop an isolated knuckle of volcanic rock thrust through the surrounding grassy plain, and the only route up to it was the short, steep, winding trail he had just ascended. Down below waited 3,000 Quilan troops and a further 1,000 Taimo, novice soldiers recruited from his home city of Hollowstorm. They had ridden hard for the last 5 days along the western road, skirting the Weresill foothills to arrive here, the next bastion from which he would draw support for his massing army. He placed a hand on the pommel of his sword, more for show than any sense of readiness. He had learned long ago that command was based on many things, one of which was knowing when to project authority. Looking up at the stone fort of Gorriund, he could see it was well defended. He did not envy the task of anyone who would seek to conquer it. He hoped such an endeavour would not be necessary. The next 5 minutes would determine which way the river of change would flow.
"State your name and purpose,"
came a voice from the battlements. Vorth shielded his eyes from the twin suns' glare and singled out the man issuing the challenge.
"I am Vorth Saltbane, Commander of Quilan and Regent of Hollowstorm. I come to bolster the Cuscosian presence in the north, following Etizora's defeat at Wivenoth. Who am I speaking to?"
"I am General Fulk, Commander of Gorriund. By whose order do you come? We did not receive any instruction from Cuscosia, nor warning of your arrival."
"Nor would ye. Cuscosia's communications are compromised, and we have received no message from man nor bird. Given the state of affairs, a commander has to take the initiative."
"You fly the ancient Quilan flag," Fulk replied. "Why not that of the United Provinces of Cuscosia?"
Vorth realized his mistake. It was one thing to galvanize troops with flags, uniforms, and heraldry, but he would have been well advised not to be so pompous in his presumptions regarding this outpost. He determined to apply more guile in his overture to swing things in his favour.
"It is wearying shouting thus from below. What say we speak commander to commander from within your walls? Many of your troops hail from Hollowstorm. They will vouch for our trustworthiness."
Fulk did not answer straight away, appearing to consult with another.
"A sign of weakness."
"You may enter alone and say your piece."
Vorth looked behind to his second-in-command, Bruth Thunderscar, and gave him a pre-arranged signal, then turned back to Fulk.
"Very well. Open your gates, and we will speak."
The Gorriund general issued a command, and Vorth heard a loud clunk, indicating that the wooden sleeper that barred the gates had been removed. The giant ironwood doors opened inwards to reveal helmeted guards wielding spears and garbed in the traditional heraldry of Cuscosia. It seemed there was a high level of distrust towards him. This was all as it should be. He would not have behaved any differently. Soldiers escorted him beyond the barbican and into the courtyard, where he was greeted by a beefy squat man with a grizzled complexion. Fulk's build and demeanour spoke of experience and authority. Guards surrounded Vorth, and he observed at least 50 more soldiers on the surrounding ramparts, bows at the ready.
"Your sword, if you please,"
Fulk said. Vorth cast his eyes around.
50 men, with bows at the ready, and 10 others with spears pointed at me. I would be skewered before I'd even drawn Wolfbite halfway from his scabbard. Is that not protection enough? Come now, General. Allow a fellow commander some modicum of respect."
Fulk looked at Vorth's greatsword, nodded, and bid Vorth speak what was on his mind.
"These are times of great turmoil," Vorth said. "Cuscosia is riven and open to attack from many enemies. King Eetor is on the back foot and has not issued any orders save to hold our respective armies in position. There are already rumours from the west that Bolstarth is flexing its muscles, and it is only a matter of time before the rebellious Thalans show their true colours. This is to say nothing of those treacherous Kaldorans and an inevitable follow-up from Dragonia. Under the circumstances, I believe it is time to take the initiative and secure our traditional borders. We must show strength, and if Eetor is unwilling to step up to the mark, then—"
Fulk narrowed his eyes. "You would move against the king?"
"I would not advocate treason, no, but perhaps the Eetor needs convincing with regard to the wisdom of centralized power."
"Then you seek independence for Quilla?"
Vorth inclined his head.
"More of a looser confederation."
"With you leading this new powerful province?"
"You've seen my army. I command their respect. The peoples of Quilla seek a more favourable distribution of wealth. Hollowstorm is a major port, yet we do not receive our fair share of the commerce that comes with it. This must change. Do you not agree?"
Fulk did not answer straight away, but Vorth noted more than a few nods of assent from his officers standing behind.
"I see you need time to ponder this matter, General Fulk. I intend to march on Cuscosia tomorrow morning and make my demands known to King Eetor. That meeting will produce one or two outcomes. Need I spell them out to you?"
Fulk's lips tightened.
"Your words are diplomatic, yet I believe your actions speak of hostility. I need no time to muse over this. My answer is no. Captain, escort Commander Vorth to the gates. We will let him pursue his treacherous course of action and see where it gets him."
"General Fulk,"
Vorth said, before the guards could respond.
"You are of Amaran descent, are you not?"
"What of it?"
"I simply say this. If your troops cannot ally themselves to us now, then once our business is finished with the Eetor, we will have no choice but to deem you a threat. Do you truly represent your men's interests in this?"
Once more Vorth looked around at the Gorriund soldiers meaningfully, and thought he recognized at least 10 who had passed through his military training school in Hollowstorm. Fulk bristled at Vorth's statement.
"You would do well not to speak thus to me, Saltbane. Your army may be formidable, but Cuscosia will stub your toe. It is more impregnable than Gorriund. Now, take your leave. I have no quarrel with you, but neither will I pledge you my allegiance."
Behind Fulk, one of his captains stepped forward and whispered in his ear. Fulk replied harshly,
"Still your tongue, Jacquemus, and do as I order."
The general did not see it as his back was turned, but another captain sidled up behind him, a long dagger drawn. With one swift movement, he drew it along Fulk's throat, opening up a fatal gash. Blood guttered out as Fulk, eyes wide, reached up to the wound. The strength drained from him, and he collapsed to his knees. Immediately, 3 quick-witted spearmen rushed forward and made to lance the murderous captain. Vorth was too swift for them. He drew his greatsword, wielding it double-handed. In a ponderous yet efficient attack, he felled the spearmen, running 2 of them through and decapitating the third.
"Hold!"
Vorth thundered.
"Or you will become pincushions for my archers."
It was enough to halt any others who deemed it their duty to act honourably or foolishly, depending on your perspective. The Gorriund troops looked back at the battlements. Behind their bowmen had appeared a host of Vorth's soldiers. They had disarmed the defendants, and now had bows trained on all their ranks. "Your men scale walls like spiders," the captain who had sought to entreat Fulk said. "I'm ashamed my men have been caught napping so."
"Do not be too harsh on them,"
Vorth said.
"They were distracted, and it did save a lot of bloodshed."
"Speaking of blood," the captain said to his men, "remove the bodies." Vorth looked at the now prostrate form of Fulk and the 3 spearmen. The cobbled courtyard surrounding them was stained red.
"Burial with full military honours."
"He wasn't a bad leader," the captain said, "just born the wrong side of the border. We will give him a decent send-off." Vorth grunted.
"You acted shrewdly, Captain Jacquemus. Do you command the loyalty of your men?"
Jacquemus shrugged. "Those who don't recognise my authority will be persuaded by a night in our dungeon."
"Very good. I promote you to General of Gorriund on a temporary basis. Continue to prove your worth, and the position becomes permanent."
Jacquemus stood to attention and saluted.
"Now," Vorth continued, "open the gates to my men. The officers will spend the night within these walls. The rest will make camp outside.
Very good, sir, Jacquemus said, and barked a series of orders to his troops. 5 minutes later, Bruth led a Midnaean contingent through the open gate.
That went well,
he said to Vorth.
With the annexing of the fort, our numbers swelled to some 6,000. Eetor must listen to us now. That would be the sensible course of action. But Cuscosia hasn't always followed the path of reason, and this stirring of the heavens does nothing to ease my disquiet.
Solar was now at its zenith, and Vorth prickled under its radiance. The itching in his brain had increased daily, and he observed the same symptoms amongst his men, making them restless and unpredictable.
You've always been superstitious,
Bruth said. Vorth gestured a sigil over his chest.
A man does well to bear the portents well in mind. Many ignore such things and fall by the hand of the unknown. Vorth Saltbane will not be one of them.
Bruth did not reply, but Vorth knew he did not share his sentiment. He dismissed his second-in-command and made towards the officers' quarters. He needed a drink, and so did his men. Tonight they would allow themselves a little debauchery. Tomorrow would see them strike out for Cuscosia. By the end of the week, Eetor would be attending an unexpected audience.